have a dream, oh, I have a dream. Red, white, and blue, fly free, fly free. I believe, oh, I believe. Will you dream with me?
Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to Changing Times. It is Wednesday, December the 7th. We're just edging a little closer every day to Christmas. And this is a pre-Christmas show. And on the 23rd of this month, Wednesday, again at 9 a.m., as always, we will have a real Christmas show. We're going to have Christmas music. We're going to have more than one person. And hey, can we get ZZ back on too?
Maybe
we could. I tell you what, we got so many talented people that are going to be singing Christmas songs and Christian Christmas songs and things like that. And it's just going to be great. And Don will be here. I won't be here, but Louis Michael will be here, and he's going to sing Elvis Christmas songs. And
then we're going to have Adam and Faith.
Adam and Faith. We're going to have Adam and Faith here, and Faith is a young lady that, and Adam's very talented too.
Yes,
they both write songs, they compose songs, and they're going to be very famous someday.
And Synova, you would like it. His name's Adam and her name's Faith, so they came out with Adam and Faith.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So that's going to be a good show. I hate to miss it, but actually I'm on the board out at the Lake Springfield Veterans Cemetery. Such a beautiful place out there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And they won an award. They're the top cemetery in the country. And so we're going to have, they all get inspected every year. All the national cemeteries get inspected. And Springfield, that campus, that cemetery actually won first place. The governor will be here, lieutenant governor. We'll have the top veterans official from the state here. We got some people from D.C. coming, officials from Washington, D.C. coming. And so what a interesting. And so all the board members will be there, and it'll just be a great celebration to receive that award for our people that work out there. They just do a great job. And so we're excited about that. But we've got a great show, and we've got, I'm Lynn Morris.
And I'm Don Blackard.
Yes, you are. And I tell you what, we've got a great show today. We've got Synova Cantrell. How are you doing?
Fabulous. How are you?
We're doing great. I tell you what, I can't complain. And, you know, we also have a executive assistant. She's over here in the corner. Her name's Raylan. And I'm going to just kind of wave. I asked Raylan to come over here. She might come over here after a while. But she's the executive assistant to Synova. And so.
And she has her own YouTube channel.
She does. So that's making her famous already. How old are you? 9. Okay, that's a perfect age. I just figured you were 9, so that's pretty good. So hey, so today we're just going to kind of jump right into it. We are live at the Axe Media Group headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. I'm not going to give a weather forecast. It looks like it's going to rain. It's going to be in the 50s today, but that's it. So that's my weather forecast. Pretty short.
Yeah. I would like to say that Aaron Lewis is coming to town at the Galois Theater this Saturday, and there's still some tickets.
Oh, really?
So he has some patriotic music and just a great country singer. So
is he at the Galois?
At the Galois, yep, this Saturday.
All right, this Saturday. What time?
Not sure.
Okay.
But they can look it up on the Galois.
Jan and I've got a parade at 1:00 at Clever and 6:00 at Billings. And then we'll be done with all our praise.
He has that patriotic song, Am I the Only One?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, there's another thing to do in Southwest Missouri if you've got a chance to do it. A lot of things going on right now at this time of year. But I'm going to go ahead and start. Synova gave us a great outline that I've made copies of. And instead of trying to read my writing and Don being subjected to my writing, we have a nice outline that we're going to try to follow today. So Synova, you know, this time of year is always thought of as one of the most wonderful times of the year. And when we say that, you know, all people who are Christians that have Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, they know that. Even if they have hard times, they have a better Christmas. But Christmas, Thanksgiving, holidays seem to be a really hard time. A lot of people have anxiety. There's a lot of financial problems going on with inflation. There's depression. There's just all kinds of problems. And so, you know, it's really hard at this time of the year for a lot of people. And I think when I looked at your outline, um, finding gratitude during Christmas at that time, that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say on that first topic on the outline?
Well, I honestly didn't bring the outline. So what is the first topic?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Most wonderful time of the year. Well, I did a little video promoting my gratitude journal, and it's not the most wonderful time of the year for a lot of people. And most of my audience are built from victims' family members that have suffered through terrible, horrible things. Myself, I've lost 15 people in 2.5 years. I fell on a hiking trip and messed up another spot in my spine. You know, there's lots of things that we don't take into account. Sometimes we, as Christians, a lot of times we think too that we have to keep the facade up that we're happy. We have to keep the facade up that we are, that this is a great time of year, that we have to, we are supposed to have that inner peace. And sometimes the world and ourselves put us in this pedestal that we're supposed to be better. We're supposed to have more joy and more happiness. And yes, we are. But sometimes we get to the point of almost depressing because we feel like we're not measuring up. And we have this story in our head of what Christmas is supposed to be. And all of the Hallmark movies and things like that, they put this picturesque, magnificent, beautiful scene of how family life is supposed to be, how our holiday is supposed to look, how Christians are supposed to look. And sometimes we can't measure up. Sometimes our Christmas doesn't look like that. And then we feel inferior, or we feel depressed, or we don't have the money perhaps to buy the thing that we wanted for our children, or we can't compete with so-and-so's Christmas. They've got a bigger Christmas tree. And then people, in my audience, they have gone through horrible things. Their child might be missing, or their loved one. I work with Missouri Missing, and Mary Ann, this is the 20th Christmas that her daughter's gone. And the case is still not solved. It's still, we know what happened, but nobody will do anything about it. And so how do you look at her and say it's the most wonderful time of the year? Well, I started studying neuroscience and how the brain works and biochemistry, and I found a way to tell her how to make it better. I can't take away those horrible things, but I can take away her pain a little bit. And that's why I decided to do life coaching. When you practice gratitude, the way your brain works, every thought you have, every thought, good or bad, your brain sends out neurotransmitters. It sends out chemicals into your body. Okay. So you can literally think on negative things, send your body full of cortisol and adrenaline, and literally kill yourself from the inside out. Now, let me tell you what a prolonged state of cortisol and adrenaline does. It is meant to be a fight or flight thing. It's meant to be very short-lived and be done with. But as a society, we don't do that. Your body literally starts breaking down on the inside. If you're fighting a bear, your brain doesn't care if you digest your food. So you stop digesting food. All of that starts backing up. All the toxins start backing up in your system. Your liver and your kidneys stop filtering out the toxins. Your part of your brain literally shuts down. All of the oxygen is sent to your limbs. And part of your brain, the worst part of your brain, which is your amygdala, it's the fear center. Okay, so you are literally hyping up that fear center, and then the part of your brain that thinks clearly, makes decisions, all of that, it starts getting oxygen deprived. Okay, so what happens when you are stressed? You're literally, your cells stop reproducing, your muscle tissue stops reproducing. Inside, you are stopping your normal processes to survive this bear attack. But society nowadays, we are constantly in that state. So if you go back and you study most diseases nowadays, I think someone studied 75% of diseases start out as a inflammation issue, and that inflammation came from too much stress. So literally, you can destroy yourself with your thoughts, or you can create things with your thoughts. Now, when you have happy thoughts, when you have gratitude thoughts, your brain sends out serotonin and dopamine and a couple of other chemicals that literally heal you from the inside, give you the feeling of bliss, give you the feeling of joy. And the exciting part is the pathway in your brain that goes to send out the chemicals. There's only one. Okay, so you literally, when you're practicing gratitude, it shuts off that fear center of your brain. It shuts off that amygdala. Okay, so when you are practicing gratitude in that instant, you cannot be fearful or stressed. You cannot. Now, you might immediately flip back to that because that's a habit, but you can literally hack your way into thinking positive and finding the good in life and making this the most wonderful time of the year by demanding you focus on something else. And some studies from UCLA shows that you can literally, they took a study of people that started their day with 15 minutes of gratitude. And they tested them out. They had better health. They had better job promotions. They made more money. They had all around, their immune systems were stronger. Their heart health was stronger. They had a better outlook on life. Depression decreased. Suicide rates decreased, all because they spent 15 minutes in something positive every morning. And so this is the reason why I started this. I'm thinking most people don't know that we have the ability to change our focus. The Bible says, in everything give thanks. And that almost seems cruel. You're like, I just broke my leg. How am I supposed to be thankful for that? But we misread it. We misinterpret it. It says in everything, not for everything. So in spite of the fact that you've suffered trauma, in spite of the fact that your Christmas story doesn't look like somebody else's Christmas story, in spite of the fact that your loved ones aren't there, you need to find ways to be grateful.
Well, I think that's so true. If
Yeah.
you're not grateful, if your heart's not positioned there, then all the other emotions do take over and
It
they
does.
spiral and they just get out of control.
Yep.
I mean, you could have, look at it and say, oh, yeah, I don't have that big tree in that big house. And then you could have someone that just has this tiny little Dollar Tree and they're so grateful because their mindset is in the correct place.
Right.
And so I think you're absolutely correct with that. And the expectation of Christmas is just so big. Did you do your Christmas cards? Did you make your Christmas cookies? Did you check off all your lists? Did you get your dress for the party? I think just having a moment to really center back into what is Christmas about, and that mindset for gratitude is just so key. And I looked through your book. It's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. The thing with it is people don't understand, and I don't want to offend anybody, but if you do your study, Jesus wasn't born on the 25th of December. Okay. The December 25th used to be a pagan holiday, and one of the early churches decided, okay, you go ahead and have your festival, but we're going to worship something, we're going to clean this up a little bit, we're going to change this. If you study all of your history back, your church history and things, you'll find out that December 25th has been relabeled many, many times. And so one way to make it a better time of year, to make it a more wonderful time of year, is realize you hold the pen. You label this however you choose to. Now, our label of what Christmas is in the modern day is different than what the label was in the 1800s. Our label is different than what the early Christians did. Our label is definitely different than the pagan holiday that all the way migrates all the way back to Nimrod. So if you want to know the truth, if you want to really study out, this holiday is what you choose to make it. And I read something, happiness is a choice. It is not something you put off for the future, you design it for today, I think is what Jim Rohn said that. happiness is something that we create within us. It's not something that externally we think, okay, something external is going to happen. This person's going to love me. This person's going to say this wonderful thing's going to happen, and then I'm going to be happy. Well, if that was the case, every celebrity on the planet would never get into drugs and alcohol, would never commit suicide, would never have any trouble. And we know that that's not true, but we still fall into that same habit. And this is what I really want people to understand. Your happiness comes from here out. We need to live more internally out, not externally in. Your value is placed inside, not outside. You know, I did a talk on a survivor's radio show, and we were talking about how when you've been a survivor of abuse, you almost feel less than. You feel like your value's been diminished. And I'm like, no, that external event did not diminish your value. That external event was something that happened. It was very unfortunate. It may have been terrible or horrible, but you as a person, your value comes from inside. You're God's highest form of creation. You are valuable no matter what's going on out here. And I think that is the same concept with the holidays. I chose Surviving Christmas with Gratitude as a title because I felt like, honestly, in my life, I have a lot of chaos right now. Things are kind of going harem scarum. The 15th person that passed away was my father-in-law. And so there's been so much chaos trying to get, all of the inheritance taken care of and taking care of my mother-in-law and doing all of these things that the mental chaos has just been overwhelming. And I will be honest with you, the days that I remember to fill out my gratitude, and I'm not just saying list 5 things that you're grateful for and move on. I'm talking really feel the gratitude. The days have been 100% better. And so this is the reason why I chose this topic, is because we have the ability to change it. I don't do the true crime stuff anymore because I felt like I really wasn't helping people. If I didn't help their mindset, if I didn't show them how they could refocus things, then I'm not really helping them. And so this is the reason why I went through this.
Hey, Synova, I want to tell the audience, because I think this is what they need to know, that you've been on our show before, but I want the audience to know you are a best-selling author. You've written many books, and you've put your life on the line investigating true crimes. You've dealt with mafia. You've dealt with dangerous criminals. You've dealt with the bad elements of life. And I just want the audience to know that you did that, and you did help people. You did help people.
I hope so.
But you've changed sides now. You're doing something else, and this is part of what you're doing. I wanted people to know that because she's very successful, very smart young lady, and she's. But are you still helping people write books? You
Yes.
have a business,
Yes.
and so we're going to have her back on, and Don's got a book right here. Don, so what's your book about?
Henry Bigtree's 100th birthday party. It's teaching kids to love conservation and sustainability in a really fun way. And it's really cute illustrations, top illustrator, and it's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, and you can buy it. Yeah, I was going to say, you can buy this at Amazon. You can go to Barnes & Noble and buy it. This would be a great Christmas gift. It's a great gift any time of the year. Everyone, even adults, need to understand conservation and sustainability, and this is really, really good. And I'm what I do is I bought books last year for my grandkids, and I bought them for another friend or two. But you know what? I will be buying books again for people. People, I might meet Raylan someplace and I would give her a book. I'm telling you what, this is a book that's really good. And so I would recommend that. So we'll get back into this. So Synova, what you're talking about, the gratitude, I think really helps our attitude. And we know, because back when I had my pharmacies, I had about 330 some employees at one time, and their attitude, my pharmacist's attitude, my attitude of my my front end people that was the first contact with the public. Attitude is so important, and that gratitude and the program you got. We're going to talk about how people can get a copy of that. But I think that's really important. I was talking to, I think, is it getting ready time to have a break? Okay. But I was talking to an employee at the courthouse in Christian County just yesterday, and I was signing some checks for the collector. And she brought those checks up to my office, and I thought I'd heard that, but her husband died about this time of the year, 12 years ago. So it's been 12 years. So she brought it up. She said that if she hadn't had a strong relationship with the Lord, that she would have never made it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely never made it.
Oh, yeah.
She still thinks about it.
Oh, yeah. You don't get over it.
No.
You don't. And that's the thing. You've got to turn your focus because it never goes away. It never, people's like, oh, well, time heals all wounds. That is an absolute lie. Time does not.
So it's not wrong to miss them.
No, it's not.
But you have to move on.
You have to continue your life.
Right.
And I tell people that have gone through this, if you did not have a purpose here, you would not be here.
That's right.
And so you cannot forgo your purpose because of a heartbreak.
Right. Well, we're going to, you're exactly right. Well, we've got 3 great sponsors. We've already had Louis Michael. He's a sponsor and a sub co-host, and he told us about his life choosing, he has a nonprofit choosing to live, and
what an honor that we had Donna Presley on last
Donna
week,
Presley
calling
was
in
on
from Sweden.
That's the furthest.
Cool.
That's the furthest away that I don't know how many thousands of miles. But
And she's on tour with Peter Jasinski, and I looked him up, and he looks so much like a mix between Johnny Cash and Elvis.
Oh, really? Well, and that's what
And
they're
he's the
doing.
biggest rocker in Sweden. So,
Must be awesome.
Well,
but it was so good with Louis because God really lined that all out for him. And
Yeah.
when we talked on the show last week, only God could put Donna Presley on your board of directors for your nonprofit.
Yeah.
And he's just doing really great things.
Right. I mean, and we might as well talk about, he is a realtor for the firm, FIRM, in Ozark, Missouri. So if you guys need to buy a house, sell a house, buy some land, whatever, he's available. And his phone number is 417-988-1086, 417-988-1086. He'll call you right back. If he's not where he can talk to you, he's out showing a property or something like that, he'll call you right back. Every time I've called him, he calls me right back. And he is an Elvis impersonator. He won the first place in about 250 contestants in Nashville several years ago when he was younger, when he could actually, he always jokes, I could fit into a Elvis jumpsuit. And for some reason, as we get older, a lot of us can't do that. But he can still sing like Elvis. But one of the deals that we made on this show, if you buy a home from Louis, then what's going to happen is he will do a block party for you. He'll do an Elvis block party. You can invite all these neighbors that you don't know who they are up and down the street, but you're going to have a party in your backyard, and you can provide some refreshments and you get to know everybody, and you'll be the coolest person on that neighborhood because of having Louis there, because he really does sound like Elvis. He's just a great person. Another sponsor of ours, our very first sponsor that we had, was Brad Pistow. He's a certified fiduciary financial planner, and he's located in Ozark, Missouri also. And his phone number is 417-581-9222, 417-581-9222. We're hoping to get Brad on this show before the end of the year. We always try to get our sponsors on twice a year, so we're working on a schedule right now for Brad Pistow. I tell you what, it's never too early to start thinking about retirement planning. You need, as a young person, you need to be thinking about it and actually working on putting money back, because you can't depend on Social Security. Just don't count on it. Just hope it's going to be there. And it's the government's promise it's going to be there, but you never know. So take care of yourself, plan ahead. it's amazing the magic of compound interest and some of the things, some of the plans that I use him. Don, some of your family uses
Yes.
them,
Mhm.
and I've got my son using them. I think one of my daughters is going to be going on after the first year. He has plans where you never lose a penny. So the stock market is really losing this week. It's had 300 and 400 point losses most of the week, and we're just halfway through the week. So it's not doing very well. And if we have a true recession next year, it's not going to be doing very well during that time either. Okay, so it's a dangerous time for people that just have stocks and they don't have any protection. On his plans, and I just got a distribution check day before yesterday. You get a check once a year, and I got my check. It's already been deposited, and I'll never run out of money. We still have 2 other accounts. Janet has an account. We haven't even tapped into hers yet. She's 4 years younger than me. And so it continues to grow at 6 to 8% a year. And then we have our own combination account because she's younger than me. We don't have to tap into that yet. And so really pretty cool that we've got this, and I don't have to worry about what the stock market's doing. So Brad Pistow, he's going to come and hopefully talk to us about what he thinks we need to do in 2023. What does people need to do in 2023?
And we need to know that.
Yeah, I think he's going to give some great information. So I'm excited about that. Our third sponsor is also a tremendous company, Youngblood Motor Group in Springfield, Missouri on South Campbell. 3838 South Campbell. And they've got new cars on one side, Nissan Kias. They've got over 150 used cars at any time. Most of them are specialized cars. They're certified cars, is what I'm trying to think. Certified cars where when you drive down the road, they're not going to fall apart, okay? They've gone through them. They've made sure everything's taken care of. They've got some really nice cars. And a lot of people buying used cars now because new cars are so expensive. But he's got a great program where you buy a car you can buy it online. These 2 ladies I know are smart enough that they could buy a car online, never go to the dealership, never go. And they will deliver the car to your driveway where you work, whatever you want. They'll deliver it to you, and you can keep it 3 days and drive it, put everybody in wherever they belong in the car, even the dog, put everybody in there. And if you don't like that car, they'll bring you another one. But you can trade your car, you can negotiate your payments, you can do everything online. And 43 plus years in business, the longest dealership, age dealership in Southwest Missouri. So that's our sponsors, and we're going to try to get him on because he's been talking about electric cars. He's been talking about one that really piqued my interest where you never have to charge it. It has a generator in it, so it recharges itself as it goes down the highway, because I don't want to stop and try to figure out where I'm going to find a charging station.
And sit there for an hour.
Well, and I think, right now, most of the charging stations are free. Well, let me tell you what, you get enough electric cars on the road, and they're not going to be free forever. How many things are free? Right. There's always going to be a cost to it. So, I mean, I go over there every once in a while and to grocery shopping with Janet, the great big store that just opened another one. What's that?
Hy-Vee.
Hy-Vee, yeah, Hy-Vee. And so I go with her every once in a while. I see they've got some stations for recharging, but I'm thinking, and they're being used. I thought, well, and it's free. Well, someday it won't be free.
Right.
So anyway, so those are great sponsors. Let's get back to the show. So let's talk about memories. Let's talk about memories. We got everyone that's watching today. We've been blessed. Everybody's been blessed. I mean, some of you may not feel like you're blessed, but you're blessed. And we all have memories, and we want to cling to the good memories, don't we? Mm-hmm. Now, we can't forget the bad memories. So just like we were talking about, you've got 15 people in your family that have died in the last year or so. That is a lot. And so you've got some sad memories, negative memories. But again, how are we going to take care of those negative memories?
Basically, when you have a memory, you label it, whether it's good or bad. You have the choice. to label it good or bad. Now, I'm going to pop off topic for a second and come back. There is I was listening to one of my mentors and coaches, and he was talking about how there was a psychiatrist who was seeing two different rock stars. And the female rock star, she was coming to him all upset because she said, I'm having panic attacks before I go on stage, and I'm not going to be able to, my career's over. And he's like, well, what's physically happening to you? And she says, well, I get butterflies in my stomach, my breathing gets rapid, my heart rate speeds up, my hands get sweaty, and I just have a meltdown. I just have a panic attack. I can't go on. And then he talked to a gentleman, and he's like, I'm curious, how do you feel before you go on stage? And he goes, oh, well, I wait until I feel a certain way. And he's like, well, how is that? And he said, well, I get butterflies in my stomach, my heart rate increases, and my hands get sweaty, and I know that I'm pumped up and ready to go. Well, what was the difference? They were physically feeling the same thing until their mind labeled it negative or positive. So losing someone is negative, yes, but how we choose to look at it is up to us. We have the ability. Now, would I rather have Christmas with my father-in-law here? Yes. But there are things, I have a little graphic that I made. I made a little cartoon graphic because sometimes these harder principles are easier to understand if you make them more childlike. There are 3 levels of things that you can focus on. You can focus on what you can control, and then a little bit bigger circle is what you can influence, and then everything else is out of your control. Now, if I focus on the fact that my father-in-law is not here, that is the big circle. That's out of my control. I cannot change that. I cannot influence it. So the more I dwell on that, the worse I feel. Now, if I tune my focus back down to one of those smaller circles, something that I can influence or something that I can control, then I will feel better because I have a say in that. And this is what we want to do with our memories. We want to say, okay, this memory is not what I choose. It's out of my control. It's not in these smaller circles that I can handle. So I'm going to have to release that to God. I'm going to have to release that to the universe. I'm going to release that to the wind because we can't change those. You know, some people say, well, if I had done this or if I had done that. Stop ifing yourself to death. Stop shoulding yourself to death. I should have. Stop that because you cannot. It is out of your sphere of influence. It is impossible. And destroying yourself because I should have, I would have, I wish, then you are just killing yourself. You're filling yourself with cortisol, you're filling yourself with adrenaline, and you will literally, how many people have you met that literally have thought depressing thoughts until they got depressed and then they got illness and then they ended up passing away? You can literally think yourself to death, but you can also think yourself to life. And if I focus on the fact that that all of these people are missing now, they're not missing. They're just on another plane of existence than me. I wish they were here on this plane of existence so I could love them more. I could hug their necks. I could tell them I love them one more time. But that is out of my sphere of influence. I can't do nothing about that. And so I have to refocus on what I can do something about. I can focus on trying to make this the best Christmas that I can for my little assistant in the corner. I can try to focus on making this the best Christmas I can for my husband who is missing his father terribly. I can focus on certain things. And by focusing on those, Tony Robbins has a great quote, where focus goes, energy flows. Well, I tell people, what is life? If you've seen somebody pass away, you see the light go out of their eyes. Their body's still there, but it doesn't look the same. It's because the energy that animated that physical being is gone. Okay. And your energy is what makes you. Your energy is your life. It is your existence. Now, would you cut your arm off and give it to the painful memory? Would you cut your arm off and give it to your abuser? Would you cut your arm off and do that? No, that sounds drastic and horrible. But in reality, we're doing the same thing. We are giving a piece of our existence to the thing that hurts us most. And so when we can stop and choose, say, okay, I'm not going to give any more of my energy to the thing that hurts me. I'm going to give my energy to life-giving things. I'm going to give my energy to focusing on making this the best Christmas for her. Focus on giving my life for something else. Because see, we think, oh, I don't have enough energy. I'm tired. What we don't have, our bodies, they figured it up, and there's so much electrical currents in our bodies. We could light a city for so many days or something that's crazy. We always have the energy. We just may not have the motivation or the ambition. But the thing is when that energy is gone, that's it. You can't manifest anymore. You can't manufacture anymore. And so we really need to focus on, what are we going to give our energy to? What are we going to give our life essence to? And as Christians, I know we're all Christians here. As Christians, we believe that is the spirit, the soul, is what, science calls energy. I believe is what we call spirit and soul. It's just different labels, the same thing. But here's the thing. We have the ability to choose. And then we have a secret weapon. As Christians, we should be more prosperous in our emotional journey and our spiritual journey. We have a secret weapon. We don't have to do this alone. We have the Creator of all things at our beck and call when we need help. So when we get to focusing on the pain, we know mentally that we've got to refocus, but sometimes it's so hard to pull out of that.
My mother died on New Year's morning, 5 years ago. I always wake up thinking about that.
Yeah.
But then what I do is exactly what you're talking about. I refocus right away. I mean, for about an hour. As soon as I wake up that morning, I'm thinking about that.
Yep.
I'm thinking about that call.
Mm-hmm.
But then I start thinking about positive comments. Right. I think about the chocolate pies that my mom made, the fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I think about angel food cakes with confetti beads because nobody ever made that. And it seems like they don't make angel food cake very much anymore. Yeah. But as I was growing up, that's the favorite kind of cake I had, was angel food cake with little confetti beads on it. And I got those for, probably until I was 35 or 40. My mom would make that every year.
And how blessed is that?
Yeah. So you think about those positive memories. Yeah. Then you can get by. Then you go on in life. You'll see those people again. I know we will. Yeah. And so just enjoy those positive.
Exactly what you said, Lynn. My grandma died in March. And it was right when spring turns and the flowers bloom. Right. It was like that day in spring that it goes from like winter to spring.
You can feel it in the air.
But it's that gratitude of like, Lord, I'm glad she died on such a beautiful day that every year when the spring comes, there's that renewness. And it's, your mind can be your worst enemy or your best friend. Yep. Right. And people that live in that constant negativity, they don't even realize the enemy they are to themselves and that they've actually let the enemy in. Right. Something that my dad says that I know you will like, but where the fragrance of the Lord is, the devil can't stand. Exactly. And it goes back to that whole, like, if you know nothing else, then just start bringing that praise and gratitude because the darkness has to go and it just does refocus you. And we're such powerful people with how much our mind controls our day-to-day, just, all of it. So, well, we're going to run out of time. We got 5 minutes, and I know that getting with families is really hard, and we could talk on that subject, for a while. So just touch real quick on, it's the time to gather together. And that can be hard because not all families get along really well.
Right.
And then just give us a couple tips on how to survive the chaos of Christmas and how people can get a hold of your book. Can you?
Okay. Well, I pulled out my notes because I wanted to give Lynn the scripture. Romans 12:2 says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." How do you do that? Exactly like you said. You start in the chaos and you transform your mindset by thinking to the positive. How many people would love to have their mother bake them such a special thing for 35 years? I mean, 35 years, that's a blessing. So many people don't get to have their mothers that long, and it's hard. But then I also, one more scripture I love, I can't remember where it was, but it says, he inhabits the praise of his people. What is inhabits? You come in, you bring your stuff, you set up shop. So we have a secret weapon. When we start praising the Lord, we literally invite God into that situation in that moment. So he just comes in, brings his stuff. He brings his couch. He brings his chair. He brings his TV, his lamp, all those things. He brings his stuff in. And he inhabits that situation. That's how we can get through. But gathering of families, and I'm going to be, again, some people don't agree with me on this. You do not have to go. People want to say you have to go to every event. You have to go. Well, I'm dealing with some people in my group that have been victimized by certain family members. Now, if that's going to trigger them, they suffered child abuse, and that's going to trigger them, then they don't need to go. Now, if you're to a point in your healing to where that person's not going to ruin your whole day, you can just ignore them, then by all means go. You are in charge of what this holiday means and the traditions you place on it. So that's my comments on gathering with family and friends. Don't let someone bully you into going somewhere where you're miserable and you are literally re-traumatized by pains of the past. Don't do it. Your energy is going to run out one day and your time is going to be over. And do you want to waste one of those days on something that's going to cause you more pain?
That makes a lot of sense. Hey, how do people get a hold of you? Show up your book.
Okay.
They can see that online. And so what's the name of your book?
It's a gratitude journal. It's Surviving Christmas with Gratitude. It's got the gratitude journal pages, but then I wrote all kinds of articles about the things we've been talking about, how thoughts create your reality, the importance of self-care, laughter therapy. I'd love to come on one day and talk about laughter therapy.
Well, we all need to laugh more.
Yeah,
I know that.
yes.
I know that's really good for you.
Yes. Well, they said 20 seconds of heavy laughter literally is, as for your heart, it's as good as if you did 3 minutes on a rowing machine.
Oh, I'd rather laugh than do a rowing machine.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so can I count my
so
minutes?
how do they find you?
They can go on my website, synovainc.com. For a little bit, I've got a few of these left. I'll autograph them for you, or you can go on Amazon and get them.
SYNOVA
Cantrell.
Inc.
Yep. Synovainc.com.
Inc.com.
Yep.
Okay. And can they buy that book on Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Very good. Well, I tell you, and so you're trying to, that book says gratitude and how to survive Christmas,
Right.
but this is really, that book is information basically all 365 days.
Right.
We have more problems, I think, during holidays.
Yeah.
But we also have problems. All of us have problems every day.
Yeah.
Some days are worse than others,
Yeah.
but every day is a blessing, and you have to find that blessing. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to find.
It is.
But it's there. It's there. It's absolutely there. And you can choose whether you want to be a positive person or a negative person.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to have Synova back on. We have
yeah.
so much more that she's got going on.
Oh, yeah.
And I got a signed copy of her book here on author platform. So I'm super excited about that.
That's all the secrets, how I got my blog so huge, how I attracted the attention of Hollywood. and a traditional publishing house. That's all the secrets right there.
Well, I tell you what, I'm so proud of you because I've been following you for quite a while. Hey, we'll be on next week, and we appreciate everybody tuning in today and watching us. A brilliant young lady that's really trying to help people. You know what? You are a difference maker, right? And what do you say, Don?
Being the change.
Yes, being the change.
Being the change is extremely important. Difference maker, that's who we have on our shows each week. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next week.
Hallelujah.
And Raylan, good job.
Can I
Good
get
job,
a
Smith.
hoorah from a patriot like me? That's what it means to really dream.